I've been posting gold updates on X, formerly Twitter, at Charting Prodigy, and I wanted to make a quick video because we've got an attempted recovery this week, but it fizzled out, and you ended up triggering new reversal signals this week. I still think that gold is going to end up exceeding the 43.81 peak that we had there in October. I still think it will exceed it because usually is what happens is you have stock market peak first and then the commodity cycle peaks after that. Last time in 2007, stock market peaked, it began to crash later as the recession already began. Gold went on to make new highs initially, and the commodity cycle peaked and it sold off later on. I think you're likely going to see the same thing here. So I still think you're headed towards 4,500 to 5,000 gold, and I think that will be wave 5. I think we're still forming wave 4 here in the daily time frame and in the weekly time frame as I've been talking about. And I'll show you the L8 wave count in just a moment. But we had this rally back above the 10 and the 20 period moving average. You got a topping tail there on Thursday. You got it confirmed on Friday. Talked about a possible A, B, C structure that could complete a wave 4, or wave 4 is done over here. I've talked about both of those scenarios. I think this scenario is less likely. I think you have a larger ABC move, and then I think you get one final push higher into 4,500 to 5,000 for gold. I think it's going to happen. I don't think this is the top right here for gold. I still remain longer term bullish on gold. I believe we have a larger correction under construction here for gold for right now. Let me be clear. I do think that the first half, somewhere in the first half there of 2026, you're going to see the commodity cycle come to an end and gold will top. The dollar, I think, has already bottomed. And they often have that negative correlation taking place. Stochastic rollover there on Friday with the sell-off. We were down on Friday 2.17%. Gold closed out at 4,080. We got the 10 below the 20 period moving average. Price popped above both. You got the topping tail, which formed a candle of indecision. It's an evening star reversal 3-day pattern. You have a wide range bar. You have the candle of indecision in the form of the spinning top. And then you've got the reversal bar there. That's a reversal pattern, 3-day reversal pattern. If we close below Friday's low, it will confirm the low of the 3-day pattern. It will confirm that pattern. And then if we take out this low, again, you likely are getting the A, B, C structure for a larger corrective move. With that reversal on Friday, after the spinning top on Thursday, we're getting parameter, possibly getting ready to roll over and confirm a lower high here, get a larger corrective move. I do think that is the likely path for gold, but as I've said, I think this is corrective. I do not believe this is a top. This is the weekly chart of gold. This is what we've seen so far. We've seen an 11.62% sell-off from the high. We've sold off for a few weeks and now we've recovered it. And then we get a topping tail in the weekly time frame with that 3-day reversal pattern that formed this past week here with the evening star reversal. So again, the risk is we come back down towards the blue or the red trend line, again, getting a larger corrective primary wave 4. I think that from the bottom over here, from our consolidation, we have a primary wave 1, primary wave 2. I think you've got a primary wave 3 with a recent high at 43.81. I think you're in primary wave 4 right now. I think that's going to be followed by primary wave 5 to new highs, somewhere between 4,500 and 5,000 for gold. The other alternative count that we've already bottomed here and that we're on our way and we've already finished primary wave 4. I think that's less likely. The primary wave 2 here took a little while. I think that you'll see something bigger in an ABC correction here for gold. If I remove the alternative count, I think this is more likely that we have our ABC structure. And again, you're going to get the wave 4 down here somewhere at one of these lines, at the blue line or the red line. We've already seen an 11.62% drop from the high. So again, if you come down to this line, you might go down 19, 20%. This line going down this deep, again, you might go down further, closer to 23 or 25% lower. But again, I do think it is primary wave 4. I think it will be followed by primary wave 5. And this trend line from these highs back over here for the end of primary wave 1, the peak at primary wave 3, could be pointing to the next highs here somewhere in the first half of 2026 towards the 4,500 to 5,000 area. Now the blue line is the channel from this low over here to this low here, and again that could be where we are headed. The red line takes us back a little bit further to the wave 2 low over here, primary wave 2. So again, it's just some trend lines to pay attention to, but I do think that gold likely has a bigger correction coming, but then I think it is going to make new highs. But then eventually in the first half of 2026 somewhere, I do think gold will top. Commodity cycle will come to a conclusion. Stock market has topped, which I believe it has. It's hitting major resistance. If you watch my videos, you know that. The stock market has topped. If Bitcoin has already topped, well, gold will likely top after them. The little myth and the lie is, oh, money's rotating out of gold and going into Bitcoin. That is a bunch of poppycock. It's now down 25%. Saying this for weeks. It's another moon boy hoax. Oh, Bitcoin's the new digital gold. Bitcoin's likely topped. The stock market has likely topped, and the gold top is likely coming in the near future. At least that's the way it usually plays out. Now we got a topping tail in the weekly time frame, and if we continue to get that confirmed and take out our low, then again, short-term trend, the short-term direction is down. Well, again, the longer-term direction is likely still up. Silver and gold are pretty much doing the same thing here in that we're getting an ABC type of a correction. This is the silver hourly. Again, if we've completed a peak here, got a 5-leg, a nice looking 5-leg push down for A, a move back up for B in the red count, and then I think you're going to get another 5-leg push down here. I think you've already begun the 5-leg push. I think you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I think you get one more down for 5, and then I think you get 2, 3, 4, and 5, and maybe complete the correction late November or the first part of December or something, and then I think we'll see both gold and silver soar higher above the peak that we had over here in October. Now again, L8 wave is speculation. I'm speculating here on a zigzag correction, which is a 5, 3, 5 pattern for silver. But again, once it's done, I believe, and I think that will complete primary wave 4. Once that's done, I think we'll get the wave 5, and you'll complete the red count, the ABC. You'll complete wave 4, and then you'll get the larger wave 5 to follow. I think silver and gold will complete a top sometime in the first half of 2026, maybe the first quarter, early on into the second quarter. Now with gold, I think you have one or two possibilities. So I've talked about an ABC where went here slightly higher than the previous peak. So again, it's not as clean as silver as far as the zigzag correction, but if we do have a 5-leg push down here for an A, an ABC back up for C, for the B, for A, B in the red count, then we get a 5-leg push lower, maybe going into early December or something for, let me just move this over a little bit here, for a 5-leg push lower, late November, early part of December to complete a 5-leg push down for C. So you have an A, B, and a C to complete your wave 4, and then off to the races. I think you go higher than that. Now this is a deeper push back down. Again, maybe we only reach 35 or 3600, which would make the correction at higher levels. Again, moving back towards the lines that I talked about, the moving averages, but again, if you take out this level, you're getting a lower high, lower low, opening the door for a bigger correction. Now, that is a zigzag ABC 535 pattern. This could be a ABC right here. Again, L8 wave speculation. Another ABC could be a 335 pattern. Sometimes, and that would be a flat, and sometimes flats, just come back down to this area. Just beyond it, apply less of a correction. Sometimes, though, get these complex correction moves where, again, you can have an ABC for a W, then you can get ABC for X, a WXY is a complex corrective move, and then we get another complex correction right here, which would be your Y, and you would have the complex correction, the WXY. And again, Elliott wave is speculation. It's not some hocus pocus, let's know the future, Nostradamus indicators, looking at things and using impulsive and corrective moves to try to determine price direction based on impulsive and corrective moves. Counts can be invalidated and gives us the process of elimination. I'm just telling you the different possibilities here. While I do believe we'll get a bigger correction, you have a possible zigzag, maybe a flat 3-5 pattern. There's also the possibility of a complex correction, and again, it's a process of elimination. Regardless, you're going to end up with a bigger correction for gold. We go sideways, maybe you get a flat scenario here, or maybe it evolves into a larger sideways triangle if we go sideways for a larger correction sideways. Those are the possibilities. I think we're correcting. I think once the correction is done, you're likely going to see new highs with gold. Now, I posted my weekly chart of gold here earlier in the week on X, and I pointed out that the bars were trying to turn back to green, but it won't be final until the end of the week. They weren't able to do it, and we had a topping tail here in the weekly time frame, and they remained bearish. We had the bearish sell signal here at the top here in the weekly time frame. Tried to flip back. There was no bullish signal, no bottoming signal, and then bars couldn't flip. With the topping tail here, and with the evening star reversal, the 3-day reversal pattern in the daily time frame, I think it's still likely we're going to come back and take out this low and get a larger A, B, C structure, maybe dropping towards those trend lines, maybe dropping towards the 50-week moving average right here in the weekly time frame. That's the green line you see right here, maybe towards that 200 period in the daily time frame. Well, I believe the bigger picture is still bullish. I think we're in a correction for primary wave 4, and then I think it will be followed by the primary wave 5 to take us to 4,500 to 5,000, where I think Bitcoin, or where I think gold will likely top. I just go back to the weekly chart here and bring up the 50 so you can see it. The 50-week moving average here in the weekly time frame could be coming into contact with this blue trend line here, which again is where we have found support here and here. The red trend line just under the 50-week moving average maybe by the time we reach it. But I do think you're going to pull back towards the blue trend line and maybe the 50-week moving average here in the weekly time frame. Even if you don't reach it, you're still going to pull back towards it. Then I think you get that final pump higher into the blue trend line of the upper boundary of the channel, again, towards 4,500 to 5,000. The risk is that we end up dropping back towards 3,500 or 3,600 or something like that for a bigger move, or at least towards that level, towards that blue trend line. And 50-week is currently just under 3,300, but again, as time goes on, it rises. I'd be watching that 3,500, maybe 3,600 area if we end up getting the bigger pullback with gold. Going back to the daily time frame, again, the 200 period's at just under 3,400. It's a little bit higher than that 50-week moving average, but those are the two levels you want to be watching. If we lose the 50, if we end up losing the cloud here in the daily time frame, then you'll get a much bigger pullback. You'll have a lower high, lower low that will, again, give us a short-term trend, possibly down to the 200, possibly down towards the 50-week moving average and towards our trend line, blue trend line in the weekly time frame near the 3,500 area. Here we are at 3,400. This could continue to rise towards that blue trend line, as I've said. So again, it might be we're on our way back to test our 200 period moving average here in the daily time frame. To see confirmation of the evening star, you got to get a lower high, lower low. And if you do see a lower high, lower low, then the odds start increasing. The odds start increasing that you're headed back towards that blue trend line, headed back towards the 200 period, and maybe as low as the 50-week moving average, just a little bit under. The 50-week is very, very close to the 200. 200 is usually between the 40-week and the 50-week moving average. Usually it's right in between those levels. They're very close to one another. So if we do get a lower high, lower low, be watching the blue trend line, be watching the 50-week, be watching the 200 period moving average. And again, you're likely going to see an ABC structure for primary wave 4. So again, we've got the evening star in the daily. We got this topping tail in the weekly, and the bars tried to flip blue and couldn't do it. Tried to flip back to bullish and couldn't do it. Still bearish bars. But we also have further evidence in the daily time frame with the evening star reversal. And that is that the evening star reversal gave us a reversal signal here in the daily time frame as well. With Friday's reversal bar, we got a potential topping signal there, much like the topping signal we had back at the peak. And this is the daily chart. A bullish bottoming signal here. We went sideways, and then we got another bullish signal for a higher low, and bars flipped to bullish. Now they're flipping back, and you're getting a reversal signal here. We don't make new lows. It could be something like we had right here, where we got a reversal signal, but then it didn't play out. We still went to new highs. That would mean that this low can hold, and we get a higher low. I think it's more likely that we have a larger A, B, C structure for primary wave 4, but like I said, I still believe that gold is going towards 4,500 to 5,000 eventually, and I think that this is just nothing more than a pullback, likely in a larger A, B, C structure that will go on and make new highs. We'll be watching to see if this signal plays out with the evening star reversal, and if so, do we take out this low? That would really be confirmation that you're getting the next leg down for the ABC structure, this wave C for primary wave 4, in my opinion. And again, L8 wave is speculation. Like I said, primary wave 4 could be done if you can validate another higher low. You got a higher low right here. If you can get another higher low and see everything flip back to bullish, you got a shot at it. I think it's more likely you're going to come back and take out this low over here and get a bigger drop than the 11+% that we've already seen with the sell-off. Getting this reversal bar and having bars flip back to bearish in my mind, gives me to believe that evening star is going to be confirmed early on next week in all likelihood. This is a daily chart of gold. With that 3-day reversal pattern, the evening star pattern here in the daily time frame, we're getting some warning signs that, hey, maybe we're going to come back and try to take out this low over here and get a lower high, lower low for a bigger correction. Here, bars turning back to bearish. The choppiness in the triangle that developed over here was followed by a strong trend. It remained, bars turned red at the lows, rebounded back up, bars tried to flip blue, now they're flipping back to red. So again, marking kind of a sideways move there. So again, the risk as we come down and we get a larger correction, which is likely going to be an ABC correction. The daily chart, the daily chart here of gold. And again, in the daily time frame, gold had this powerful move higher. Bars were blue. We got a topping signal. It got a reversal bar that was validated with bars turning to red. Bars tried to flip back to blue here with this rally back up, but Friday bars flipping right back to red. Risk is we come back and take out this low, and if you do, you get a lower high, lower low. The door is open for a bigger correction. Although, again, I do believe it is a correction, not the end of the advance, unless you start really seeing evidence of that in the longer term time frames. What could happen in the longer term time frames is we could see a bigger sell-off, but eventually, even if the RSI comes back down towards 50, you can still see a larger divergence develop over time that would end up giving us, say we get a pushback, towards the 200 or the 50, and then you get a bigger push higher, it would likely form a divergence as we go towards 4,500 to 5,000, exceeding the 43.81 high over here. And that could be what is setting up if we, again, drop back down below the 10-week moving average, take out the previous low, then the door is open for a bigger corrective move before likely going higher. I continue to point out back in 2007, the stock market peaked in October of 2007. Gold went on, and gold went on to rise by another 42%, peaking months later in 2008 after the recession had already started. And again, the recession started in December 2007. Then corrected right around 34%, and my thing moved on me here, right around 34% or so, if I can get that exact. Yeah, right around 34% in the larger bull cycle. Eventually, the stock market would bottom in 2009. Gold actually bottomed before that and continued longer-term bull cycle. But it did correct surrounding the recession, surrounding the stock market crash in 2007 and 8, and again, Lehman moment, and it rebounded back up. It surged as a flight to safety, but eventually bottomed later in the year in 2008. So I just want to point that out. Again, I think if we do get a larger correction with gold, I think that it will still go to new highs. The stock market's slamming into major resistance right now in the channels, and good chance those highs hold and it turns down. If it does, we'll begin to price in the recession. We'll begin to price in, the bear market crashing. Stocks will crash to kick off the bear market, I should say. Eventually, I think gold will be surging higher. And here, again, it went 42% higher. That's a remarkable move. I just think we get a bigger correction before we get something like that, get the final push higher for what I think will be wave 5. And again, L8 wave is speculation. This is what happened when the stock market peaked in 2007, what happened in 2008 with the financial crisis. It did eventually peak in the early part of the recession, and it had a pump higher with the Lehman moment collapse happened surrounding that with the stock market. So again, just some things to be aware of. Likely going to get another financial crisis here. We're already seeing the beginning stages of it with the banks. We're going to have another banking crisis. Again, the banks, huge exposure to the commercial real estate sector. I believe you're going to see another financial crisis here. The Fed is injecting billions into the banks, more than they have in the last 5 years. We're seeing that happen recently, doing that to try to stave off another banking crisis. They're not going to be successful. We're going to have a regional banking crisis. That might give gold the final pump higher. But as I said, as the recession starts, which I think we're going to see it start December, January, shortly thereafter, in the first part there of 2026, I think gold will peak with wave 5.